Today we're going to talk about astrology and professions. Thank you for being here. I always love our talks. So today we're going to talk about how signs can indicate direction in a career.
Yes.
What would you look for in somebody's chart?
Well, like I normally do, we'll go down the 12, okay, and start with Aries.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, this isn't just a sun sign. This is where there's a predominance of an energy in one sign or around that energy itself. You know, if we pick the Aries dynamic, someone has a lot of Aries, they are the warrior soul. So a lot of those will be in the military, literally in the military. And they can be cops, you know, anything that has to do with warrior kind of energy. Athletics, again, and they're heads of business. They're their own leaders. They like to be in charge. They're fiercely independent. And in the case of a lot of Aries I know, you can't tell them what to do because they're already doing the way they want to do things anyway. So they're entrepreneurial.
So those are constructive fire signs.
Right, constructive.
So if you have a affliction or something in your chart that indicates destruction, how would you read that?
That would be fighting with everyone that disagreed with you, where you're in conflict all the time in whatever it is you're doing. Because if you're a natural leader, you work with others if you're elevated in that. And if you don't, and it's all about you, then you're going to have conflict throughout your life and career. So, you know, the dynamic of an Aries is Aries rules my career house. Everything I've done is to be entrepreneurial by nature. It's like, not that I can't work for other people, I have, but I always want to take over. I always want to do how I do something. And so it's not just the sign. I'm not an Aries, I'm a Libra, the opposite of that, but yet it rules my career house. So I look at the house placement of that sign also.
But your Libra would keep your Aries in check.
Yes, I'm a diplomat.
I
yes.
have Aries as well, and thank God I have Libra in my chart because and the older you get, it seems the easier to be diplomatic as well. I find people evolve as they go through the years, and thank God, that's a good thing. Why don't we talk about Taurus?
So Taurus is money. That's the sign of money. It is a practical sign, it's an earth sign, and you find them in banking, no question about it. They're very frugal by nature.
Real estate?
Real estate, it's another area. Anything that to do with property, stocks, any type of money industry.
Sometimes
investment.
A singer?
So, well, that's a whole nother thing. Yes, that's the artistic side.
Right.
I was doing the practical side.
Well,
you got ahead of me.
Make money. Sorry, my bad.
It is an artistic sign also because it's ruled by Venus, and so it is the side of the singer. And so you will find a lot of singers: Barbra Streisand, I think Whitney Houston,
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Whitney is a Leo because Bobby's an Aquarius. They were one of the
right.
oppositions that came up when I was looking them up.
Yeah, so it's Taurus. Yeah, Taurus is again, but they are very concerned about practicality and making money, and that's usually the base of the choices and decisions they make. Even when they are artistic and creative in their nature, they'll look at a more practical choice before they, move into that area. So it is a self-sufficient sign. So once again, it doesn't need a boss. It can be its own boss too. They like to be left alone to do what they do on their own. They're more comfortable with that type of autonomy. So I find Tauruses are very stable and reliable in their nature.
Financially driven, right?
They are financially driven, yes. But in a practical way, that you won't find them extravagant with really expensive, fancy things where we'll get to with the Leo. So, yeah.
So do you want to talk about Gemini next?
Yeah, the Gemini is usually in education. It's about learning and communication. So communication, education, these are the areas that Gemini is drawn to. It's drawn to everything, essentially, because it's curious about everything. So you'll find them in data a lot of time. You'll find them in computer industries and data. Engineering, it's another area. It's a mental sign, it's an air sign, so again, it's more the intellectual directions and approaches. But Geminis are always learning, so they get bored easily. So they usually have two things going at once in their life. They're doing one thing and then they got another thing too. They're always thinking I want to do something else. They don't get a huge satisfaction of just doing one thing. They need multiple things to stimulate themselves.
Very true.
Very true.
Very true.
Yes.
One of the most unfortunate instances that I see, because Geminis are so naturally intelligent, is when you get a Gemini who lacks education, because they're know-it-alls. You know, they, and I found this to be true in the readings, and every time I read somebody and they ask me about an ex-partner or a child of theirs, it's so important for them to constantly be learning and not just philandering through life. Like they have to have a project, or I find them to often be destructive as Geminis. And they're just so brilliant naturally. It's just a shame to see some of them not try and follow a path that includes learning instead. And then they become older and disgruntled and a little, angry.
I had been around Geminis in my life, and they do tend to be, again, indecisive, not sure what they want to do, and because there's so many things and they go in different directions, and I think the problem is to commit. It's an issue for Gemini to commit to one thing because they do get bored easily. And so, and again, I'll find them as journalists and media and these types of energies and professions too, which we'll get with the opposite sign because it does the same thing, and I'll get to that in a bit. But, Geminis, they won't do just one thing. No.
Well, I'm a fan of Geminis, so...
We married one.
And you're right, he doesn't want to do just one thing. He's a I'm not going to say it, Joe. He has to do more than one thing at a time to stay interested. It's like both halves of the brain need to be stimulated equally. So he works with me, and then he works his real science job. So very Gemini.
And he works at a university.
He does. Yes. Wouldn't a lot of professors be Gemini?
And Sagittarians, yes.
Sagittarians, okay. So then moving on to Cancer.
Well, again, that's the sign of the home body. Again, another money sign. Cancers are about security. And so we define security and the value of security through how much money we have and what we can afford. So Cancers, especially men, the most frugal of all the signs, almost to being cheap, because I'll get that, and the wives will go, oh my God, he won't spend money on anything. and in the women, again, everything for the women, they'll do anything that's home design, home decorating, again, real estate. Cancers like real estate because it's the home. And then you'll find them in cooking. They're good in restaurant works. They're good as cooks and chefs. And that's another area they like. Anything that's nurturing in nature.
Mothers.
Mothers, that's not, it's a career. Teachers, she just doesn't get paid.
Teachers, I know. Tell me. I've been there.
So, but you will see a lot of Cancers in the food industry. For that reason. And again, Taurus gets in that industry too.
Well, and our daughter's a Sun in Taurus, Cancer rising.
So she is,
and she's graduating with hotel restaurant management degree. So it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
So then let's talk about Leos, because they do love to be talked about.
Well, again, Leo is anything where it provides a stage and opportunity for recognition. So again, these are the actors a lot of times, but I don't think of Leos. There are a lot of Leos in the acting profession, but to me, I look at them more as directors. You'll find directors are Leos because they want to run the show. Okay, so when someone says as a kid, it's like get all the friends together, let's put on a show. That's the Leo who's making that statement, because they want to put all these characters together and create something in their vision. Everything about a Leo is how they see something, and they want everybody else to see it the way they see it. And so this is why when they're a boss, it's like, you may not agree with them, but don't disagree because that's how they see it. And if you create a conflict for them, that's a conflict for you.
Right. Right.
Because they have a hard time being objective to a situation. You can make sort of your point about something to a Leo, but it's how they see something and how they want it. They're the easiest ones to manipulate if they're your boss. So if you have what you call a very strong ego in a boss who's very strong-willed, just tell them how wonderful they are.
Use charm.
They'll do anything for you. It's the easiest sign to manipulate for the virtue of the fact that they want recognition and they want to be told how great they are, and that's all that's important. But you'll find them in sort of the high-end industries, jewelry, flashy dynamics, and
salons.
Hair, and the hair salons and things like that.
Fashion design.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
No, I don't put them in fashion as much.
Really?
Yeah, I put them in, like you said, hair, in that area. Maybe some. It depends on the other aspects.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that sounds good. So being a Leo can be fun, but you always have to run the show somehow.
Well, and they also like children. So that's another area you'll find them.
Fiercely protective.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's hop over to Virgo.
Virgos, okay, they're in the health industry. It doesn't matter what part of the health industry, it's just somewhere in the health industry. They can be, working for doctors, they can be nurses, they can be selling medication to, pharmacies, anything like that in that dynamic. So you will find them in mechanics and men. The dynamic of a Virgo is the need to be needed. So something always has to be wrong so they can fix it. They're fixers, they're organizers. They organize anything that's around them. They want to put things together and make everything sort of neat and organized. So you'll find them as office managers without question.
IT,
yes.
Editors.
And yes, editing. It's anything where they're organizing something and they're also fixing problems. They're good problem solvers. They're the good analysts. If you have them for a consultant, they can see things in your business that you can't see. So they're also good in those fields. One thing with the Virgo, they hate being critiqued because they're already judging themselves already so severely. So if you're giving a Virgo performance review, if they're breaking out in sweat, stop. Because they have a really hard time. And it makes
anxiety,
them have,
a lot of anxiety.
Gives them tummy problems when they get critiqued.
No.
So they don't like performance reviews.
Oh, poor them.
I know.
That's so hard. So takes criticism somewhat difficultly.
Yeah, it's a difficult.
Takes it
yes.
very personally,
Yes.
Self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Earth, right?
And if you have a boss who is a Virgo, you're going to be critiqued for everything you did wrong, nothing you did right.
They overanalyze
everything. Yes.
That's very true. All right. Well, so moving on to the beauty snob of the zodiac,
yeah, the beauty
Libra.
snob of Libra. This is where you get the fashion. This is where you get makeup and design and all these areas. We have an aesthetic. Libra's an air sign. It's a social sign. They're good in anything involving people, good personnel. Resource managers, these types of things. Public relations is a good Libra thing. They're good event planners and party planners, these kinds of things. And they're, for me, I have a degree in interior design. It just came natural because I have an aesthetic. And so I just see things in a way that have beauty attached to it. So they're also good in law. That's another area because they're about justice and fairness. And so you'll find them good as mediators. In a legal profession, whether they're judges too sometimes.
They like to debate.
They like to debate. Yes, we do like to debate. We don't like to argue, we like to debate. There's a difference.
You don't want it to get ugly.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That sounds good. I like Libras.
Yeah.
I tend to gravitate
Thank
to
you.
them. Oh, you're welcome. So moving on to Scorpio.
Scorpio, this is where you'll find your doctors a lot of times. They're, and then you find them in police work. Investigators,
Right.
Again, money
Homicide.
sign. Yeah, homicide, yeah, always death. They're great, obviously, they're going to be great morticians. funeral
Scorpio
parlor.
rules death,
Yes.
so that's why.
So, and again, they're money and they're investing. They like to invest. That's for them, they're always building money in their life. And so that's a part of their nature, and they're not revealing in terms of what they have or what their life looks like in terms of, revealing things. So, that you won't know how much money they have because they'll never tell you.
That's true.
And again, anything investigative is a natural area for them. And they're also great as psychologists because once again, they're probing the mind and probing that area. So they make those fields.
They keep secrets.
They
so they can keep other people's secrets.
Yes. You can tell a Scorpio's secret and they'll keep it. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
All right.
Also sex trade.
Well, that's why when I was wondering, but that's why when you said doctors, I was wondering OBGYNs because
sure.
I mean it's a reproductive system.
But the porn industry, you'll see a lot of Scorpios.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Yeah.
But I noticed the ones that are textbook Scorpio, they like to wear black.
Yes.
Tattoos, edgy. There's an edge to them, and they're really, really fierce. Like their eyes, their eyebrows. They're very proud of being a Scorpio, and they own the nature of Scorpio.
Yes.
And so you gotta applaud that. I mean, at least they love who they are. I mean, that's a good thing. So, all right. So Sagittarius.
Sagittarius, this is the sign of lawyers. This is law itself. It also are religious leaders. We moved from sort of religion, people running the world, to now in our country, we have lawyers in a whole new system of government that's about law and the rights and wrongs and rules of society that we all abide by. Sagittarians, and that's, you'll find them in professors in universities. You'll find them as great novelists. You'll find them in sports. It is the sign of the athletic. There's so many areas that Sagittarian covers. You find them again. You'll find
nursing,
them
right?
No, I don't see them in
no
nursing.
nursing.
You can, but it just those are the Pisces and Virgo signs, more or less. Sagittarius is.
Is it a holistic medicine though?
I never got that.
Okay.
So far, I haven't. You got something from it,
That's okay.
You'll find them in marketing and publishing. Those are areas. And again, they are journalists. A lot of times they'll go into journalism and they like to travel in journalism. So these are the traveling journalists around the world. You'll see a lot of Sagittarians in that field.
Two of Joe's closest friends, Sagittarius, which is his opposition, and they get him to maybe have too good a time sometimes. But one is a bank president, and the other is the lead, a front man in a rock band.
Oh, okay, well.
I'm just like, how random, but how great,
that
too,
is
at
random.
the same time.
Yeah, well, and I like Sagittarians. They're fun.
They're fun.
They're a great sign.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, but flight attendants, pilots. That's another area. Always in that industry, you'll find them.
People who work in casinos.
Yeah, casinos. Yeah.
They like Vegas, living in the moment, having a good time. A lot of bartenders, maybe too. No, that'd be Pisces.
That'd be Pisces.
Yeah. So, okay, well, moving on to Capricorn, the goat.
That's your boss. That's your boss. It's always the person that's the boss or in charge. Capricorn builds. You'll find them in the contracting building industry. Once again, real estate, property. These areas are very Capricorn driven. And so they want to be in charge. They're very entrepreneurial and very much building whatever it is they've attached themselves to. It's like if they go into restaurant work, they're building their own restaurant. It's not like they're working for somebody else. This is what they like to do. And again, that is the sign of ambition. It's the sign of climbing the social ladder. So they are social, but they're always the ones moving up the ladder and seeing how much further they can go. They're usually successful for that reason. So, they're the fathers, so they also make great fathers in terms of responsibility. They're strict, they're disciplined, and they're never satisfied. So you can't get a positive statement out of them.
That's funny.
So they make everything hard. If you're working really hard, then you're going to have a happy boss and you'll get raises. But make it look like you're working really hard. Because that's how they react.
Some sweat from time to time, the perspiration.
Yeah, like you've been there. I've been there 15 hours and I finally got this project done. That makes them very happy. If you said, I just did this in a half hour, no matter how good it is, they won't value it. It's got to be hard.
I've had a lot of Capricorn clients that are dentists.
Yeah, dentists, teeth. Yeah, because it rules the bone and skeletal system. And so dentists are great Capricorns for that reason.
So, Capricorn, that's tough because I have to say, although they absolutely work hard and everything you just described is my dad.
Yeah.
If you're not benefiting them, you may not be necessary to them.
Yes.
So when it comes to having a relationship with a Capricorn, I counsel a lot of people who've been in relationships with Capricorns. So if you're not benefiting them, you're not useful.
That's
often.
true, because everything to them, whatever they're doing, has to have a purpose and outcome to it that increases whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. So you can't be like a wandering Pisces in a world of Capricorn. They just do not. They're the opposite of nature. One's all about form and structure, and the other's like water with no form and structure. So they're
right.
Yeah,
I get that. All right, on to Aquarius.
Aquarians. Anything that's esoteric. So what we do for a living, psychics, astrologers, astrology is ruled by Aquarius. This is the sign of things that are beyond practical. It's the unknowns, if you will. So again, this is the sign that is the sign of invention. So they're very inventive people. And so people that are coming up with new ideas, the highest of mental signs. So they're never satisfied with something as it is. They're finding a new way or another way of doing something. Joe works in this area because it's like, we've learned this, there's something new we need to learn, something more we want to know about. They're always looking for, again, more information and another way of looking at something.
We want to do things outside of the box.
Yes.
We don't like the norm at all.
Yes.
So a lot of their careers for Aquarius seem to be unusual careers.
Science. You'll see them in science. And again, you'll see them computers, and the internet and anything involving that. And again, they're a social sign, so they're interested in the social sciences. So you'll find them in humanitarian fields, such as social work. And again, you'll get nursing in this one, but not nursing, but more social work in human services.
Yeah, I get the whole humanitarian part. Most of the Aquarians that I have as clients are worried about, I don't want to say causes, but they want to make a difference.
It is a cause. I mean, I'll give it that. And you'll find both Capricorn and Aquarians, the two most signs that'll end up in politics. That's a direction a lot of them end up in.
That's unfortunate.
Well, Capricorn, especially now. Capricorn makes up the rules, and Aquarius wants to change the rules that are antiquated. So they kind of do it in different ways.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And Aquarius is one of the first people who will buy a homeless person a cheeseburger.
Yes.
They're those people, but tend to not really relate to their family, so they draw on really cool, interesting friends like Tom. All right, moving on to Pisces.
Pisces, the last sign. Okay, this is medical field. This is like Virgos. This is where the nurses are. This is where you'll find doctors. And again, they're not just the ones that are selling prescription drugs. They're the pharmacists. They're the ones that are passing them out to you. Pisces.
One for you, one for me.
One for you, one for me. Yes. They're running rehab centers. So.
No offense, Pisces. We're just some astrological humor there.
And like I said, these are the bartenders.
Right.
And they're highly creative. So this is the artistic sign. The thing about Pisces, whether the painters, or some kind of art form, again, music. The thing about Pisces, it's ruled by water. So there's just so many things they don't know what to do or what to be because water's formless. And that's why Capricorn wants nothing but form and Pisces wants many forms. Like Gemini, it wants to do many things. And so they have a hard time focusing though and committing to something. But once they find their opposite, which is Virgo, they're very focused. But for the most part, this is the person that will create video games and all
cameramen in Hollywood,
right,
photographers,
right, cinematographers, these kinds of things. Those are Pisces jobs. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I have not had a lot of Pisces friends, but the ones that I do have are in animation or
that's perfect. Yeah.
Madonna lookalike performers.
Performers, yeah.
But they go in. They need some level of, it seems, fantasy.
Well, that's exactly what it rules. And so you look at actors. Actors are becoming the Pisces becomes this character, and they love mutating into something else. That's like water coming into this form. And so they make good actors for that reason, because they know how to lose themselves into something else.
Well, thank you, Tom. I hope this helps some of our viewers understand why they might gravitate to certain careers. Also, I think it's important to point out that having your chart run can be very helpful and a tool in guiding your own life so that you can navigate it more easily and through careers as well.
Yes, when I'm looking at a chart or doing a reading for somebody, the two top questions we're always asked, what about relationships and career? And these are always the hallmark of what we're doing in our life. It's not all of it. There's many other things that I'll talk about, but we come in with gifts and talents in our own energy and nature that I can say, well, you would work in this career. This is where I'd put you. When they tell me I'm doing this, I go, that's not right. And they go, no, I don't like doing it. And I go, I say, what did you do in college? Well, I started doing this. I go, that's the one you should have done. You have to listen to your own natural draw to something because it's already there. And even in your relationships, you're pulling in something that's already supposed to play out so you learn about what this life represents for you. And I can help you see that. I can help you know why you pull in a certain type of relationship and why you're drawn to certain things that you want to do in your life, and get you on the path that suits you so you're not doing things or with people that you shouldn't be with.
I find your readings and understanding my chart so helpful in navigating my life. I mean, you even did tell me Camille wasn't loyal to women and to steer clear of her, so should have listened to you on that one. But so if you have a reading done, you have to actually apply the information and listen to him. So thank you for joining me and Tom for this week's video. I hope you had a good time with us. Please like and subscribe.